Why did Grant Horvat decline the Barracuda Championship sponsors invite? Now, he told us why, but there's more layers to the story than people are talking about. And I think we got to dig in there because there's a lot of stuff going on. One is there's a lot of hate going around that Grant's scared that he's going to shoot the highest score, that he's going to be revealed, that his game's not going to be able to stand up, that he's doesn't want to finish last place, miss the cut, all this stuff. That's nonsense. All right, none of that. I don't believe any of it for a second. I do believe Grant when he did say he's not playing because he can't film. And I want to break this down a little bit and understand what that is really and why he can't film specifically. And there's hate going the other way too. Is like, oh, what a huge opportunity blown by the PGA Tour. Oh my gosh, poor Barracuda and poor, this and that. Like, let's kind of understand all of it so then we can really understand and try to determine where we land on the fence. I don't have a dog in the fight. All I like to do is look into things, gain as much information as I can, and then report it back. And then you can make hopefully an informed decision of where you land. I land on the side of, hey, if Grant doesn't want to play because he can't film, that's cool. I totally get that. And it's understandable because he is a content creator. I'm going to give a few examples of how this happens all the time in everyday situations. And then hopefully we can understand why he cannot film. All right. This is a PGA Tour event, and it is sponsored by Barracuda, cybersecurity company, huge in the industry. Now, so the sponsors get to invite a certain amount of people. They have sponsor invites. So that goes to whoever they want. It could be the dude's, grandmother could come and play. They can basically do pretty much anything. So typically it goes to an up-and-coming professional golfer. All right, that's not necessarily Grant Horvat. He is a top-tier YouTube creator. So either the sponsor, Barracuda, would say, we're going to give it to an up-and-comer, right? And then this has happened many times in the past where that up-and-comer does really well, and then they're loyal to the brand, the company, and they do stuff in return for them. It doesn't always happen, but sometimes they'll win the event, and then they'll just keep coming back year after year, or for a lot of years as loyalty. Now, this is an opposite field event. It's happening at the exact same time as the Open Championship, so obviously the up-and-comer, if they were to win, probably wouldn't be back the following year. They'd be at the Open Championship. But nonetheless, it's a great event in Lake Tahoe and draws a good crowd, but typically everybody's watching the Open Championship. So who's ever in for this is really, it's kind of I look at it as a vacation after you spend the morning watching the Open Championship. And you're just like, oh, that was an awesome major championship. Then later afternoon round, you're like, hey, let me chill out and watch this event. Okay. So Grant Horvat comes out and says why he's not playing. It's because he cannot film. Here's what I like to look at. There's a few examples we can try to understand what this is like. One I look at is think about this. Grant is a model, like a very attractive looking person. And he's a model. And he's booked for the Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition. If you want to picture Grant Horvat, whatever, that's kind of the example. So he shows up, or the model shows up for the photo shoot for Sports Illustrated, right? They're on the beach, they're dressed, and they want to bring their own camera person to take photos of them so that they could post those photos on their own social media account. So you've got the Sports Illustrated photographers doing their thing and your own. Dude, and so you're posting the photos that are going to be in Sports Illustrated. So Sports Illustrated is like, yeah, I don't think that's going to go I don't think we're going to like that because we're making money on the magazine that you're in. So therefore, your camera guy, you can't do the same thing we're doing. Okay, that's one example, right? You get into problems. All right, another example would be, let's say Taylor Swift invited you to her concert because you're a popular YouTuber and they want you there to experience all of Taylor Swift. You're a really top tier YouTube content creator, and they're going to give you backstage passes and put you in the front row. And their camera crew is going to film you going backstage, going in the front row, watching the concert. And then they're going to post that on their outlet channels. But you also bring your own camera person to do the exact same thing. Not only are you going to run into the same issue as example number one with the swimsuit Sports Illustrated deal, you're also going to run into copyright problems, licensing issues when you try to post that online because Taylor Swift's music is playing in the background. So now not only do you have the problem of, hey, your video is our video, but you're infringing on what's playing in the background. That's very closely related to what's happening or would happen here at the Barracuda. There'd be background stuff, background players, background sponsorships, background, all kinds of things in the background. When a media credentialed person goes to a PGA Tour event, they are limited to where they can capture footage for many reasons. One of the main reasons is because of logos and things like that that are only allowed to be shown in certain scenarios. So you've got all these different legal layers that are potential problems if Grant and his crew were filming. And I get it's one camera guy or whatever, but nonetheless, there's too many things to block out, to blur out, problems that could arise. And it's just too much of a headache. Plus, Barracuda is paying you very much like a model. Hey, we want to make money off of you. Now, you might say, well, Grant, he makes his living off YouTube. The reason he is what he is because of his YouTube videos, right? That's what made him. And that's very much true. And so similar to like that model example is what made them? Well, they took care of themselves. They worked out, they trained, whatever it is, category model you're in. You got to that level because of what you did, right? But then somebody buys that for the day, for the shoot. They pay you or they give you something in return for your time. That's what they're doing. That's what Barracuda is saying is, hey, we want you here so that we can, benefit from your presence, so that we can get an audience to our outlets, not your outlets, like our channels or our outlets. We want people to watch you in our event on our platform, not your platform. Now, your platform's not bad, but again, it runs into other licensing issues and things like that. That would cause a huge problem. Now, here's the last example I'll give. And please leave your thoughts. Make sure you subscribe to the channel too. I really appreciate everything you guys do and all your comments. I mean, I read them all here on the podcast. I read them all everywhere, but you guys comment a lot here on the podcast channel. Really appreciate this. Here's exactly what it is for, let's say, the YouTube world. I think we can understand this one probably the best. Think about the Bryan brothers. They do this $100,000 skins game video. Brilliant. Some of the best stuff out there. I really love those. I will watch those beginning to end. And great job, by the way, Bryan Bros. Those are my favorite. Those probably then the Live Duels, then but man, those skins games are my favorite. I really like those. Great energy. So keep up the good work. A little shout out to you, Bryan Bros. So Grant's going to play, let's say, in that $100,000 Bryan Bros video. Right. So, hey, Grant, you're in the video. And we all understand what the video is. What if Grant was like, hey, I'm going to bring my guy, and he's going to film me for my video while we film your video. So we're going to film the 100,000 skins match, and then I'm also going to do the exact same video, but just me. Right? You see the problem. Like, that would not fly at all. Like, and so nobody, like the Bryan brothers would be like, no, dude, we're going to do this video. We want you in it because we collaborate together. And then when you do your video, we'll be in your video. That's kind of how it works. So this is Barracuda saying, hey, this is our video. We would love for you to be a part of it. And we want to give you a sponsor exemption and all the perks that come with that. And he wants to bring, and I get it. He wants to bring his crew and film him because we all know that they're not going to film Grant and showcase Grant in the YouTube way. They're going to do it in the traditional media way. And those of us who love YouTube and that platform, we want it in the YouTube way. And so for now, we can't have both. And I get it. We want the YouTube way, but we've got the traditional way. And so Grant was like, I'm not going to do it. So kudos for him, not just taking the cool stuff, because I've said it before too, like I make videos on my channels for the audience. And so that's great. And then every now and then we get cool perks. But if I'm going to make a video, then it's going to be for you, the audience. And so there's a difference. I can't just make a video or get a perk and not give the, so he's really kind of doing his audience a service saying, you're not going to get what you want out of this, so I'm not going to do it. And I think that's more in line with his heart. I'm just kind of spitballing here on Grant. I don't want to say it's what Grant meant, but the way I took it was Grant's heart is, I want the audience to see a YouTube video, and they're not going to. It's not, I don't think his heart is, you're not letting me film, so I'm not coming. Like, I'm going to take my ball and go home. I don't think that's the way it was. Or, I'm not going to play well, so I don't want you to see me struggle. That's not it. I think his heart is, man, I really want to give the audience the YouTube video, but I can't. So I don't think I should take this if I can't give them that. Because I met Grant, and I think that's the kind of person he is. So that's my take on that. So I'm not mad at anybody. I think as time goes by, these things will kind of unravel themselves and get better and better and better. But for now, you got licensing, you got rights, you get media, you got all kinds of like red tape in the way that we gotta mow down before we can really move forward and make great content in the midst of incredible talent competitions. What are your thoughts? Let me know. Thanks for listening. See you soon.